We were in a pretty secure environment where we were before.
You were paid well, weren't you?
Paid well, in a successful position. But yeah, we got to a point where I think we both felt like we'd hit the ceiling and we couldn't really go much further. And the next step for us was really, we kind of wanted to do our own thing and be sort of a bit more in control of the decisions.
Welcome to the New Leaf Podcast, and today I'm joined by James McCudden-Hughes. And he's a really interesting character because he's built a business over the last couple of years after being employed for a long time.
And we just kind of thought, this is the right time to do it now.
Yeah.
We've come off the back of a really good market. I know I'm pretty good at this job. I know I can do it quite well. And it just made sense at that point. It was the right time to jump. It was a very bold move, but I think it was a good, in hindsight, it was a
bold,
great idea.
yeah. I can share like your top 5 business with New Leaf within 2 years. I mean, that is insane.
Not being afraid to take the next step, whether it's to take on another advisor, bring in more sort of support staff, whether it's to take on a bigger office. I think the business naturally grows to it. What I would say to my younger self, probably, just to be brave and just back yourself, I guess.
Sit back and enjoy the episode. Welcome to the New Leaf Podcast, turning over a new leaf in financial advice. And today I'm joined by James from Hirschle Hughes.
Dan, thanks for having me.
Good to have you. How are you doing today?
Good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, really good, really good. Been
Good.
having a great time talking to lots of people about their businesses. And today it's all about yours. So we want to get right into it. You've started your business with New Leaf. Now you're just over a couple of years in, aren't you?
Yeah, I think about 2.5 years in now. So,
and your business partner, Sean, works with you as well. You own it together.
Yeah. So we started it together 22, 23. So March 23 we started it. Previously we worked at the same business together and we set it up in March 23. So yeah.
So how's it going working with your friend from beforehand?
Friend, yeah. No, it's good. We're always good mates together. We worked together for about 6 years. We always had a really good relationship. We worked there quite closely, and then I think we got to a certain point there where we both felt it was the right time to sort of jump and do our own thing. But yeah, he's a great guy and it's a great person to do it.
You're based in London as well?
Yeah, so we've got an office up in Fitzrovia, so we're just north of Oxford Street, which is a great location, great place to be, and it's a great place to build a team. So yeah.
I mean, I think it's a really important point to make that you were obviously employed before.
Yeah.
And you've moved into this position now where you own your own business.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's a big change, right?
Yeah, a massive change. Yeah, it's a massive change.
How have you found that?
It's brilliant. It's a great thing to do. I mean, going from we were in a pretty secure environment where we were before.
You were paid well, weren't you?
Paid well, in a successful position. But I think we both kind of got to the point, I think I was 26 when I left. Sean was probably 29. So a little bit older than me. But yeah, we got to a point where I think we both felt like we'd hit the ceiling and we couldn't really go much further. And the next step for us was really, we kind of wanted to do our own thing and be sort of a bit more in control of the decisions.
Was there a moment then where that started in your mind? You started thinking, I think I can do this myself. Like, was that something before you obviously did it?
Yeah.
How long before was it like you started thinking about that moment?
I think probably deep down from the first few weeks I was there. Yeah. I probably always knew that at some point I wanted to go and do it myself. Yeah. But I think it's obviously took 5 or 6 years of time. Obviously, when I first went there, I was relatively young. I was probably only 21, so I was always aware that I needed to build up a certain level of experience and knowledge around the industry as well before I could make that jump. And I think we've got to the point where we were 26, and we just kind of thought, this is the right time to do it now. Yeah. We've come off the back of a really good market. We know I know I'm pretty good at this job. I know I can do it quite well, and it just made sense at that point. It was the right time to jump. It was a very bold move, but I think it was in hindsight, it was a great idea. Yeah.
I mean, obviously you were looking at where to launch this business and who to do it with and different options you would have had at the time, and you ended up with New Leaf, which is amazing. Thank you. We're, like you said, just over 2 years in now. I can share like your top 5 business with New Leaf within 2 years. I mean, that is insane. Yeah. Incredible achievement. Why did you choose us? Like, why join New Leaf? You had lots of options. We
had lots of options. I think when we left, I think we met up, didn't we?
Yes, I do
it was
remember
probably around September 22 when we met. I think we met up 6-7 months before we did it. Yeah. We spoke to a few other networks. I think one of the appeals of New Leaf is obviously, I think we'd met before. Maybe I'd met Mark before as well at a rooftop barbecue. Maybe. I think
at a bar, really,
at a bar,
shock.
I think the appeal for us was we obviously came from a background where we had a wide panel of lenders, and it was to be able to continue that as well. We had a lot of clients that needed servicing. or people that we'd work with, introducers, we knew the type of clients we wanted to work with.
Some specialist lenders there, wasn't there?
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the issues we have with a lot of the other networks is it's quite a restricted panel.
Yeah, they give you a good game. They say, oh, of course we can do that. But then you go under the bonnet, it's like, oh no, use a packager, use an expert broker, refer it to somebody else. It's just no good.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was one of the appeals for us. It was the commercial finance side of the business.
Yeah.
But also the amount of lenders that we could work with. We didn't want to be restricted at all going forward, and we wanted to still be able to offer the same package as we were previously.
That independent culture.
Yeah, exactly
really
that.
Important.
And I think not only that, but our vision for the business initially was to grow it into sort of like a business services business, so where we can help everyone. So not just with mortgages and lending and insurance, but also on the IFA and wealth side as well. So I think one of our bigger visions is to grow that part of the business as well. And
moving into wealth. Yeah,
exactly. And that's something that New Leaf could help with. So we're really pleased to join you.
Under us.
And obviously we get to work with you as well, so it's great.
I love working with you. I mean, obviously, look, I mentioned top 5 business. I mean, bloody hell, that's insane.
Yeah.
You've obviously not just done that by yourself.
Yeah.
You've grown a team already
to
8 people, I think it is now.
Yeah, so I think we're 8 advisors, and then we've got 4 others as well, so 4 support staff as well, so which is fantastic.
So you got a business of 12 people.
Yeah.
I mean, to do that in 2 years is just incredible.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's taken a lot of effort on your part to build that. What have you found being some of the challenges around building that business? Because that's a quick growth, and there must have been some challenges in doing that.
I think the biggest issue you have starting out is the balance of getting everything right. So we work with Mark from quite early on and understanding how to grow it, and Mark's been fantastic.
Well, Mark's great at strategy and helping businesses like this. That's really a real big plus of having him in the background.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
Almost like a non-exec director, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, exactly. I think, but it's really like the balancing it all. How do you balance taking on advisors, bringing on power planners and support staff as well, whilst also getting bigger office space, and it's trying to balance all the cash flow over the first couple of years, and I think we've managed to navigate that quite well.
You've been through like 3 offices now, haven't you? I think.
No, I think we're about 5 or 6. We move every week. So we've been on our current one since March, which is great. It's been there's probably the longest we've been in one, which has been good. But I think that's the biggest challenge starting out, is balancing it all. Making sure, because it's quite a steady balance, making sure money's coming in, can I cover all this and doing that. So I think that's been the main challenge.
But then what about sort of lead generation? Are you expected to provide them leads, or do they self-gen? Like, how do you control that?
I think that's one thing we've worked really hard on as well. So we obviously had to start again from where we left previously. So it was it was a clean start.
Yeah, of course, as clients weren't following you, you have to get clients yourself.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think we worked really hard on getting introducers, whether they're solicitors, estate agents, accountants, tax advisors, and I think that's something we worked really hard on in the first couple of years. Certainly Sean has as well. Yeah, going out and finding sources of business, and I think that sort of hard work early on is really starting to pay out now.
What's been the best way then to grow the business that way? Like, was it networking events? Was it knocking on the doors, business to business,
reaching out to advisors we'd worked with in the past, so whether they're accountants, tax advisors, solicitors, people we'd work closely with, and just really building on those relationships. And eventually, it does come up, but it is a slow burn, but it's a lot more, the base is a lot more solid, I like to think.
You must have learned a lot in these last 2 years then. I mean, if you were to go back and talk to your younger self, to James, when you're just starting this business again, and you're going, what would you tell him to do differently?
What would I tell him?
You're doing so well. I mean, you're top 5. I mean, I would be like, bloody hell, what are you doing? This is amazing.
I think one of the main things with it is being brave.
Yeah.
And not being afraid to take the next step, whether it's to take on another advisor, bring in more sort of support staff, whether it's to take on a bigger office. I think the business naturally grows to it.
Yeah, that's really good point.
If you're brave with it and push on, I think that's the best way to do it. So in terms of what I would say to my younger self, probably, just to be brave and just back yourself, I guess.
You made the right choice in the first place, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny because like when people say about, I want to build a business and I think I might try going on admin, but you know what, I'm a bit worried about the cost of it and will it make a difference? And obviously it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. I think everything just rises with it. So you've got to go with it. You've got to keep up with it.
Or the office and the attraction that brings as well. Like if you have your own office, there's definitely positives there. If you want to grow a team around you, you need these sort of things sometimes to make it work.
Definitely.
You want to go into wealth now, right? You mentioned that. That's a definite pivot for you.
Yeah.
You've never been a wealth advisor. You never had wealth people working with you. You always, even previously, you were in a mortgage business, weren't you?
Yeah.
Working for a mortgage business. So how do you feel about that challenge?
Well, I think for us, it's our vision, as I mentioned earlier, for the business was to be a sort of professional services business where we can help with not only lending and mortgages, insurance, but also look at the wealth side as well.
Yeah.
So we're effectively a go-to, like, one-stop shop. That's what we want to be, and that's where we see the business. I think for me, I was initially looking to go in becoming an IFA and looking at doing wealth myself. I've done all the exams and everything, but I think we got to the point where we kind of got to the point about 6 months ago where I thought, actually, do I want to do this myself, or do we bring someone into the business to do it? I think ultimately we've got a huge opportunity with the amount of clients we've got to move into that space.
Yeah, definitely.
So for us, it's a no-brainer to do it. So we've recently brought in Jonathan, who'll be looking at heading up the wealth side of the business, and that's where we see it going as well.
It builds value, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, massively, yeah.
Mortgage businesses are great because they do build a fantastic income whilst you're in them.
Yeah.
But it's harder to exit a mortgage business if that's what you wanted to do in the future. It's not impossible. Don't get me wrong. Of course, you can sell them or not or whatever. But with IFA, it's an established standard.
Yeah, exactly.
That it can be sold, and it's been done thousands of times. So there is a value build there. Yeah. Which I think for any mortgage broker looking to think for the future, because it's good to think, you're young, you've still got a long way ahead. Yeah. But what a great time to do it now. So in 30, 40 years, like, what could it be worth? I mean, something incredible for you.
Also, you're spreading your risk, right? So if you've got more, if you're able to help with more things, you're just wider spread, which is always good for the risk of the business. If there's a downturn in one, you can pick it up in the other.
It's actually a question I'd ask you around technology, actually, and this, the rise of AI currently. And is AI the end of the mortgage broker?
In my opinion, I know Mark's got quite strong opinions on this.
He would say 100%.
No, I don't think so. I disagree. I think there's two levels to it. I think you've got the straightforward vanilla resi mortgages, which I agree. I think that a lot of that market will move on. Yeah. I think where we as a business excel and do really well is in the high net worth space, the larger loans, the more complex,
different style,
commercial finance, development finances. I think we're as a business, we're trying to move towards that end of it. Yeah. Not only because it's higher value, but actually it's more complex and harder to navigate.
I think those clients are probably more used to delegating in their businesses anyway. So it's almost like they're delegating this to someone, like, rather than them do it themselves.
Yeah. For me personally, if I'm dealing with anything, whether it's dealing with like online banking, I don't want to speak to a chatbot. I want to speak to someone in person. I want to be able to call someone. And if I'm doing a development finance loan or a bridging loan or a complex, if I'm buying a house, it's a complex resi, I'd rather deal with.
There's no way you can do that
an individual. But I can see at the sort of product transfer end of the market, I can see at the standard resi vanilla stuff, I think a lot of that will be taken away by AI.
Could be, yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, the reason I asked the question was because you said about not having all your eggs in one basket, and clearly what you've designed in your business is that culture where, we want to diversify. We want to be safe for the future. We want to give our advisors the best opportunities to give advice.
But then also, I think there's a real benefit of AI in the sense that people still, even with residential stuff and more standard cases, people still do want to speak to someone, right? Yeah. I think actually we can utilize AI to not only become more efficient, but process things a lot quicker. So I think it's working with it rather than it completely wiping it out.
I don't know if you've seen this happen yet, but I've heard clients actually sort of like almost fact checking your advice as well.
Yeah. Had that a few times,
a little bit annoying, is it? Okay, yeah. I mean, you've got some incredible clients, right? Yeah. I know you guys deal with obviously high-end people from Premier League footballers to people with lots of properties and so on. But can you give us sort of clients who are listening to this podcast today, thinking about using you guys? Give us a case study.
Oh, good question. We had a case at the back end of last year. We had a client exchange on quite a high-value property. Mm-hmm. He exchanged on it at 3.5 million. He'd put $1 million in it on exchange. And he didn't have a mortgage offer or anything like that.
He didn't have any offer.
And he didn't meet his completion date, which is when we came into the process. So he was obviously at risk of losing quite a lot of money. He was quite a complex, his profile was quite complex in terms that he was an entrepreneur. He had multiple businesses. Yep.
Not a simple sort of lender to approach for that sort of person.
Not at all, but ultimately he was assets were there and you could see that the guy was worth it. We managed to get it away with a Lloyd's Private in the end, which is a really good deal. So we managed to get him off. He was at risk. He potentially going to lose the money he'd exchanged with.
Which means substantial, I imagine.
Substantial amount of money. So we managed to get him off it, and I think we closed it in about 6 weeks.
Wow.
So for given the complexity of the transaction, the pressure he was under and pressure we were under as well, it was a really good outcome for everyone.
How do you feel? How did he feel? He must be really happy.
He was relieved, yeah.
I'm sure I got you a few referrals as well.
Exactly. But no, that was. I guess that's one example where we can help. But yeah, we're always up for a challenge, and anything like that we can do, we'll try and work with them.
So you're 2 years in.
Yeah.
You're fourth or fifth now.
Yeah.
Where are you going to be within the next 5 years?
I think we'd like to be top within the next couple of years.
Okay. Nice.
That's where I think that was always what we were aiming for at the outset. Yeah. So I think to do that is, I think we'd like to do that. We'd like to put a challenge on and see where we can get to.
Well, I mean, there's been a certain business with us who've been winning a lot recently, and I think you might give them a bit of pressure. So yeah, let's see what happens. That's interesting. Now, going back to your recruitment and the way you've built your business, I know that you've also leveraged our academy a little bit as well. So you've had Imogen, for example, who you took on, and she came through with us as a brand new advisor, completely fresh into the industry, and I know that she joined you guys. So how did you find that experience recruiting a new person as well?
I think so. We came from a lending and mortgage only background, so we never got involved in protection, which I know is crazy.
Yeah.
So we had a need with Consumer Duty, we had a need for a protection advisor in the business.
Yeah.
And we were introduced to Imogen via the academy.
Yeah.
Imogen was in a position where she really enjoyed doing the protection side and insurance side. That's where she wanted to help, but I think she was probably lacking in leads and lead generation, which is where we came in. So yeah, we brought Imogen in probably about 18 months ago, and she's been amazing. She's the real detail and attention to detail she puts to clients, and spending time and then running through the protection process, which is key. It's a key part of the process, and it needs to be serviced. She's done an excellent job in that, and it's been she's been an amazing addition to Hirschle Hughes.
And that's really good for us to hear, because when the academy was set up, it wasn't necessarily for that reason. The purpose of the academy was for people who are entrepreneurial. They weren't ready to have their own ARs.
Yeah.
They would go into our academy, we'd get into CAS, then we'd look at that as the option. They would be becoming an AR later on, and that's why they joined.
Yeah.
But actually what we found was happening was, like yourselves coming in, others as well, they were then just going in and asking, who can we recruit, who can we talk to?
Yeah.
And actually by that point, I don't want to talk for Imogen, but I'm just talking generally for people in that business. They see the value of actually joining someone rather than doing it themselves, because it's hard. It's not easy doing it on your own.
To go out on your own is a real slog.
Yeah.
It's lead generation is the main thing, right? All businesses are built off the back of lead generation, and if you're struggling for leads, it's going to be a really tough slog to get up to that.
Yeah.
So I think actually we were in a position where we really needed someone to fill that role. So it's worked really well. The partnerships worked really well between us, and we're really pleased to have her on board.
So with advisors who might be watching this, not with New Leaf necessarily as well, but they're looking for ideas on how to grow their businesses, what would you say are the biggest tips you'd offer an advisor getting into building their own business?
I think it's to really understand what you want from it. Whether you want to go down the route of being a sole advisor in your own practice and doing it that way, or whether you want to grow the business. I think ultimately, if you want to grow the business and make something out of it and become a sort of a bigger firm, I think the key for me is to kind of be brave with your decisions. If you know the route you're going to go down and you want to build a team, then looking at recruitment early, but looking at office space, and I think it's kind of backing yourself with that, knowing that you can get there, but also being brave with recruitment, brave with taking on more office space. And I think that would be my one bit of advice, to be brave with it.
Okay, and what about for you personally, your business? What's been a real change in operations or strategy that you've implemented that's really made a difference? Because you have grown significantly.
Yeah, I think for us, it's really just having the processes in place. I think that's another key part of that. Operationally, the business needs to be strong. Rather than just having everyone in there just doing what they want, is knowing this is the process, this needs to be followed, and actually having that in place so people can come in and they can join in.
Yeah.
Rather than it being kind of a bit more sporadic. So for me, it was just making sure the operational side of the business is strong.
And that's interesting, because you mentioned you've got 4 admin staff.
Yeah.
So what is the workflow look like for this to work successfully? You've got 8 advisors.
Yeah.
What do the admins do for them?
So typically the process is with us is this is something we worked quite a lot on with Mark as well in the strategy.
Yeah.
Is that ultimately you want your advisors, you want them out there writing as much business as possible, right? So you need to take as much of the back end of it off them as possible. So building that, the power planning desk and the admin desk is key. So ultimately what we want the advisors doing is going out there, meeting clients, meeting introducers, picking up business, doing fact finds, and then actually we'll bring it back into the power planning team. They'll take it through to application, do the offers, checking with solicitors, surveyors, and making sure the back end's good.
It's like case managers, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. But we wanted it to take all of that burden off the advisors so they can go out and advise. Yeah. And actually, that's the paraplanning team. They do an amazing job at that. Alexia and Emily are absolutely, they're phenomenal at what they do in their job.
And like you say, like keeps the advisors in front of clients.
Yeah.
Not doing admin or getting stuck on writing up the fact find notes and rekeying documentation into lender systems, and it does make a huge difference.
Massively,
where the value of that chain is actually talking to somebody.
Yeah, exactly that.
And that's what they're good at.
Yeah, exactly. You need to follow where your value is, right? So that was kind of our model for the business, and that's how we wanted to take it forward.
Really cool. That's really cool. I mean, so look, it's been really cool having a chat with you today on this podcast. I really appreciate you coming in. The podcast is called The New Leaf Podcast, and the tagline is turning over a new leaf in financial planning. Mm-hmm. So we're asking all of our guests that come on, what's the one new leaf that you've turned over in your business that's made a big difference?
I guess for us, it was a big step to go from a pretty secure and successful career in a employed brokerage into doing your own business. Yeah. And I think that's been a massive step. It's not only a new chapter in your life, but it's exciting as well going forward, and looking forward to taking on the challenge a bit more and growing the business out. I guess that's what we've really enjoyed about it, and that's the new leaf.
With that in mind, then, like if when you transitioned, what were the challenges there? Because for people maybe doing this, it's not easy, is it? No,
not at all. It's really tough, and to go from a pretty secure position into something which is completely unknown, you're effectively just walking out there into the wider. Yeah,
but some companies make it so hard as well. They almost it's almost toxic. They're keeping you in for the sake of it.
Yeah, and I mean we probably had quite a bit of an experience with that. And then it wasn't easy for us to start up. But I think it's something that it really builds you as a person and makes you stronger, and you know that going forward, this is what I want to do, and it kind of it helps build your belief as well. You kind of want it a bit more.
We can really see that.
Yeah.
We've me and Mark and the rest of the team we've seen your growth and your development as a business. What you've achieved in such a short space of time is amazing. Look, for clients who might be listening in, where do they find more about your business?
So you can reach us on our website, so it's hirschlehughes.com. Best way to contact me otherwise is probably on LinkedIn. So it's just James McCudden-Hughes. You'll find my email there and phone number. So if anyone wants to reach out, I'm more than happy to speak to them.
Thanks, James, for coming on the New Leaf Podcast today.
Thanks for having us, Dan. Cheers.